Hi and welcome to
I'm a ghost.
Just don't. Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruby and this is my review for Netflix's original limited series, Boo Bitch. Let me know in the comments below, were you excited about this? Had you heard about this? Will you be watching it? There's only 8 episodes, they're 30 minutes apiece, well ranging from 20 to 30 minutes apiece, so quite a short story. But is it worth your while? Over the course of one night, a high school senior who's lived her life safely under the radar seizes the opportunity to change her narrative and start living an epic life, only to find out the next morning she's a motherfucking ghost. From co-creators, showrunners and executive producer Aaron Eckrick, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and King of the Hill, and Lauren Lungridge, who did On My Block and Awkward, and an executive producer from All My Boys that I've loved before, also an executive producer from Deadpool. It's a cornucopia of talented creators, but was this any good? When I went into this series, I went in thinking this could be atrocious. I saw a little bit of the trailer and then stopped and thought, this could be so much teen angst. It could just be not for me. This could be a demographic that I won't find anything in to enjoy. And I'm happy to say I think this is kind of good. It does have all the cliches in here that you'd expect. There is the story between our two main protagonists. One, right at the beginning, we find out that one dies, kind of, we think. And then the major overarching arc is to find out why she's still alive. We're answering all the kind of supernatural questions. In amongst that, we have the cliches of what teenagers or older teenagers, because they're 18, they are going to prom. They're dealing with coming of age life stuff. They're dealing with what it means to have the first time of everything. And they're going to go and enjoy life for these 3 months. See all of those kind of coming of age films that we've seen, this coming of age storylines we've seen. There is a lot of On My Block banter, but I think it comes down to what works with this is the two protagonists, the actresses we have here. If they didn't have that on-screen chemistry together, this wouldn't have worked at all. And then it comes to the tight dialogue that these two give. So Lana Condor plays Erica Vu, who is the one that has basically become a ghost not ghost character. And then we have the best friend played by Zoe Margaret Coletti as Gia. And both of these actresses have been in things that I've really liked. If you go and check them out on IMDb, you know, from Scary Things to Say in the Dark to upcoming projects. Wile E. Coyote, BoJack Horseman. She's got a really interesting eclectic acting resume. Their presences on screen, generally they bring a fun dynamic, the type of acting that they do. You put them together, you hope they have good chemistry, and then you give them dialogue that reminds me a little bit of On My Block, which is why we have like the executive producer. We have those two creatives kind of meshing here, and I think it really worked because the episodes are so short as well. Once we get to that end of that episode, whether it's 25 minutes to 30 minutes, you want to click over to the next thing that happens. And part of the reason is that is the driving arc. You want to find out what has happened to her, what is the supernatural element here that is happening. I will say, when I hit kind of the middle, probably episode 4, I figured out the big climactic change that there's always going to be in this series, and that disappointed me that I figured out pretty soon. Maybe it's because I'm saturated with content that I watch all the time and I review, you know, hundreds, thousands now of reviews on my channel. So that did detract a little bit. If you figure out the big, this is what it is, then it detracts a little bit from the storyline before you get to the big reveal. And it also has that classic Disney moments of, especially like at the end, you know, there's the prom moment, there's the speech moment that you have in all of these Disney films. It does kind of tick all the boxes, but it kind of sidelines that a little because it tackles some of the things, not in a heavy way, but in a funny way that's poignant and relevant. And then it also showcases some of those moments that our characters have gone through in their life through flashbacks that are often funny. As an example, minor spoiler, in episode 1, so that's the only minor spoiler I'm giving, there's a flashback to a character that is prominent throughout the series. It's this woman that gave birth in a jacuzzi, and they kind of show the baby kind of float to the top, and she's like, oh, I gave birth. It's that kind of sort of funny but real as well, and I thought they did that very well. Of course, you have the way teens talk to each other and the yes girl and all that kind of, and the the costume design, all of that is not going to mean anything to a 40-year-old guy watching a teen angst series called Boo Bitch. But I found myself engaging with the characters, enjoying what they were giving, understanding the demographic is not exactly for me, but it does have something for everybody to pick on. When it comes to entertainment medium, there should be something for everybody, regardless of your sex, your demographic, what you consider yourself to be. If it's a good story, you can connect with it no matter the age, much like Pixar. Good stories will connect with you no matter the age, no matter the sex. And so I thought, there is actually something here. It's got a good theme. I engaged more with the second half of this series, even though once the twist was revealed to me, there was something about, I'm glad they just didn't leave this thing to the wayside. There's a lot of Disney movies or Disney series, and I keep referencing Disney because it does have that feel of it, a Disney-esque. But there are a lot of these things will have a character that's prominent and it's all about this character, but sometimes forget another character along the wayside. One of the other characters is just on there for the ride. In this case, there is also a story that doesn't leave that character on the wayside, and I really appreciate it. In fact, I engaged more emotionally with that character, and the second half is kind of where they go with it. The comedy is set up at the beginning, so you get that kind of slapstick, and I think some people might zone out or not really concentrate, but once you get to the second half, that is where the emotional storyline comes in, and I think people will connect more with. So they're building the story and the characters through flashbacks and moments of funny and all those things that our characters will go through in their age demographic. And then once you get to those last few episodes, you're like, okay, this was better than I was expecting it. It's also not brilliant, it's not awesome, but it is pretty funny. It ticks all those boxes and has a much more decent story, emotional intent, not intensity. There are also side characters like Erica Vu's parents, who I thought played amazing parents. They're funny, they're interesting, I wanted to know more about them. There are also side characters that don't get much screen time, that almost didn't really serve any purpose but to further the main protagonist's background. So Erica Vu has a brother that you barely see anything of, and she didn't need to have a brother, basically. I didn't think it really furthered the story in any moment. So it does have some weaknesses, but for the most part, I think it was quick, sharp, to the point. It's good that it's a limited series. The ending, I think, explains everything. You don't need to drag this on anymore, and I'm glad they've called it a limited series, because I think you're going to enjoy this as a one-time watch. There's definitely the demographic for this, and I think the demographic will enjoy this, but I think those outside of it, if you're looking for something easy to watch with a bit of emotional impact there at the end, you might find that you enjoyed this. Like an easy watch. Don't have to concentrate too much. You'll probably see the twist coming, but find that you've enjoyed it more than you thought you were going to enjoy it when you turned it on. So I'm going to give this 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. Let me know your thoughts down below. What is your favorite teen movie that actually has a good amount of heart or series? On my block is probably up there for being my favorite, and then I would think about 10 Things I Hate About You or stuff like that actually has a good story or is based on like a Shakespeare story, but they've adapted for modern times. There's stuff like that. Let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out our Patreon, check out our podcast. We have a cornucopia of content on here every week, doing anime, animation, and world cinema. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long Tuesday.